stress as performers, dancers, musicians place on the body is tremendous. A musician may be standing in a fixed position for many hours. A performer may have to either dance, leap in the air, sing, wearing shoes that are not appropriate for very many hours. So the strains are tremendous. Feet are absolutely the foundation. If your feet are unstable, nothing above them will be stable. So people really have to think about their feet. What I find in performers is that they're normally hypermobile. So with that comes foot instability, an increased incidence of injuries. Because they're demanding a lot of their bodies, they're asking their feet to function incredibly well in a way that feet wouldn't normally have to function. So anything relatively minor that happens to the foot will have major implications for performers. Well, I think performers need to be aware in early stages, early warning signs of foot problems. For example, a toe going out of alignment, perhaps displacing upwards, which will then cause all the other toes to malalign, which will then result in a knee problem or a lower back problem. The big toe is particularly important. Any deviation of the big toe going into a bunion direction will start to cause a lot of foot, knee and lower back problems. So musicians and performers should be aware really of any foot pain. Foot pain is not normal. A condition I commonly see in performers, and actually quite often in musicians, is plantar fasciitis, which is a pain under the foot. Can manifest as heel pain. It is quite disabling as a condition because it's there every time you stand up. It can relate to a pelvic issue, so they do need to have a checkup by the osteopath or the physio as well, but it needs to be treated at foot level. If you leave it, it generally gets worse, not better. So there are quite a few things that people just need to be a little bit aware of. Pain on the outside of the foot means a muscle imbalance is developing. That needs to be treated very quickly. Recurrent pain in the big toe joint needs to be addressed. Something's going wrong with the joint, it's starting to deviate. Night pain, big red flag, that needs to be addressed very quickly. I think just any ongoing pain is a red flag, to be honest. So when you come to see a podiatrist, there are many treatments available. So if somebody comes to me and they have bunions, what I would do is have a look at the person walking, check all the ranges of motion, see where the restrictions are, see if they have a pelvic issue that needs to be sorted by the osteopath or the physio. I would give them a night splint to wear if the joint is mobile, because we need to stretch the muscle that's pulling the toe the wrong way, which is where the splint comes in. They would probably need some orthoses to wear in their shoes, and the person needs a toe divider to wear during the daytime to help realign the big toe. All of that gets the muscle working properly to realign the big toe. Plantar fasciitis, quite a common problem, particularly in musicians. Really can be quite a difficult thing to treat if you leave it. So the key is, if you think you're getting plantar fasciitis, you need to find out what's going on. I would say go and see the osteopath or the physio first if it's one-sided. If it's two-sided, check up with the GP. Could be a rheumatological problem. It's important to have that check-up. In terms of the feet, you need to use a foot roller to alter the feedback from your foot to the brain. Use it 3 times a day, morning, noon and night, basically for a few minutes, rolling first your good foot that doesn't have any pain, and then the injured foot can then start to copy the good foot. So I think what performers really need to be aware of in terms of not developing foot problems is to check their feet regularly. So basically, every night, look at your feet, spread your toes, bend your toes up and down, make sure everything's working properly. That sounds very basic, but it's actually vitally important. If you're a dancer or if you're a performer who's been in bad shoes all day, you need to stretch your big toe joint move it around physically. Stretch your calf muscles, because the calf muscles, if they over tighten, are going to pull your feet into the wrong position. So stretching is the key, movement is the key, not doing anything for too long. And if that's what you're doing in your normal life performing, you need to really stretch afterwards, you need to mobilize. Looking after your feet is an investment in your career. If you don't look after your feet, you're going to end up with a lot of problems, not just in your feet. It will be feet, knees, hips, back. So a relatively simple foot problem can end somebody's career, and there's no need for that. Feet can be treated early. Go and see a podiatrist. Go and find out what's going wrong. If you don't do that early on, you can end up with chronic pain, and that can end your career, and it's totally unnecessary.